In your birth chart, you probably have sun-moon aspects, or at least you know someone who has sun-moon aspects. But do you know what it truly means? Hi everyone, today I'm back for another video talking about the sun-moon aspects. So today I'm gonna talk about the more negative and the more positive side of each of those aspects. And this video is gonna be the first one of a long series of videos about all the aspects. So don't forget to nuance those aspect interpretation I'm gonna give you with your whole birth chart. Take into account every placement because the interpretation is not gonna be completely accurate. Don't forget, it's only possibilities. It doesn't mean the thing I'm gonna tell you is gonna happen. It's simply possibilities of things that can happen, and there's few manifestations of the same aspect. So let's begin with the first one, Sun conjunct Moon. So people who have this aspect in most cases have the Sun and the Moon in the same sign, which means they need to pay a special attention to the sign in which are their Sun and their Moon, because it's gonna be a very important sign in the birth chart. It also means you're born during a new moon, which gonna give a special trait to your personality. So because you're born in a new moon, you usually love to start new projects, initiate new things, take spontaneous action, and you're usually not scared to do it, unless there is other placement that say the opposite. If the Sun and the Moon are in the same sign, it means your desire, your feelings, and everything emotional inside you is not in a conflict with your conscious personality and your biggest purpose in life, which is a big advantage. It's basically like the inside is the same as the outside. Your emotions are the same as what you shine, your personality and your identity. Because what you want, your Sun, and what you need, your Moon, is aligned and the same, you usually have a very defined purpose in life. It's very clear for you. Relationships in general are gonna be very important for you because it's a way to learn about yourself. Since the Moon is the crowd, the people, and the Sun is more yourself, those two elements come together. So for you, relationships is really a way to know yourself more. Depending if your aspect is applying or separating, you can feel like at different time in your life that your Moon is kind of blocking your Sun from expressing itself. It's like your emotions are blocking your soul, personality, your ability to lead, to shine. Those people are usually gonna stay very attached to their family, since the Moon symbolizes the home and the family. Those people are gonna be very attached to their roots, to their origins. But this, no matter if they had a good or a bad experience with their family, so sometimes it can be more advantaging than in other cases it can be more annoying for the person because the person stays stuck on this family scheme. So it's highly possible that those people struggle to build a stable family because unconsciously they will tend to reproduce the kind of family scheme they live in. So those people are often stuck in the past trying to reproduce the same environment they live in, and sometimes even if it's not working, it's very an instinct to reproduce this same family path. Those people can usually have very instinctive reactions because their past life or past habits usually rule their current habits, because the Sun is their current habits, but the Moon is the past, is everything unconscious, and usually they are very ruled by those unconscious schemes in their mind. Since the Moon symbolizes the past, those people are very ruled by the past, very stuck in memories, and it can be sometimes very difficult to go forward and change. Because those people are born during a new moon, maybe sometimes they take spontaneous action without much self-awareness. So it will also depend on the other placement, of course, but in general, there is this big impulse to take actions. Because the Sun and the Moon are stuck together, you often feel like you have a lot of energy inside you that are gonna kind of explode. So you need to do something to make it out, and you usually do any action to let this energy out. Because those people are very ruled by the Moon and by their emotion, they usually like objectivity. They are very subjective. They are very they make judgment based on their emotion, and it can be sometimes difficult to see the reality how it is. Those people are usually very sensitive, and especially men. They usually love habits also, since the Moon symbolizes habits, and their Sun is where they find their vitality. So they're usually habits creator, but it also depends in which sign are their Moon and their Sun. They can also be very emotionally impulsive, since their action express their emotional needs, so they're really expressing what they feel inside. It's also usually people that have very good health and vitality, since the Moon is the body and the Sun is the vitality. So put them together, it creates a very good mix. the sun is hot, the moon is cold, the sun is dry, and the moon is moist. Together, it creates the perfect mix to make grow plants, but also to have a good health. Those people are usually highly intuitive because they're very connected to their emotion, and they can usually read people's mind and just feel what people are thinking. They will usually be pushed in their life through their experiences to make all their unconscious become conscious. But of course, this is for everyone, but those people are especially pushed to do it because the sun is here to shine its light on the moon, which is the emotion and those kind of part of our personality which are more unconscious. So basically, those people will need to make their unconscious kind of clean, and this will make them more aware and lucid of their emotional reactions, which is very important. Those people will need in their life to detach themselves from the past, from their past memories. It's not going to be easy, but it will be necessary for them to be able to simply function well and not be stuck in the past. They're not afraid to stand up and take the lead, since this leader energy is in their sun and is connected to the moon, which are people, so they can be good leaders. Those people have the ability and the confidence to be good leader, and they usually have a strong impact on other people's life. But the problem is that people will feel like they don't care so much about them. The problem is that they are unconscious of the strong effect they have on others. This aspect can make them very stable and centered, and usually more self-centered than others. Sometimes those people feel like they don't need anyone else to feel whole because they already have the sun and the moon, the yin and the yang. But it depends. Like if your sun and your moon are in Libra, you will naturally seek a partner. So it's not for in all the case, but usually you are kind of self-sufficient. But in other case, it's people that we really seek for partnership for someone else. Since they have this yin and this yang together, they naturally strive for partnership and unite these two energies together. In general, you live well your emotion and you can accept well your desire because your desires are aligned with your purpose, and you're able to express well your emotions. But if you have difficult aspect to your ascendant or your sun, this can be different. It can't necessarily be the case. It's possible that sometimes you have difficulty to understand why people get lost in their emotion, and maybe you struggle to have empathy for them. But it's not that you don't want, it's for you, your emotions are so easy to understand and feel, and you can't understand that others are not like you. Usually, you can lack perspective. Now we're gonna talk about the sun sextile moon. Those people usually have an inner sense of peace and harmony. They usually got a very harmonious childhood, but even if it wasn't the best and sometimes they had a bad experience, in the end they will go out of this experience with a good sense of balance. They will get the positive from it. So their early home life usually prepare them well for adulthood, and they are quite ready and able to live well when they are adults. They love to meet new people, to make friends, and they are easy to get along well with others simply. And they usually have easy relationship with the opposite sex. They are usually able to see well how their desire fits in with other people's goals. They are usually well aware of their emotions, so this gives them the ability to make change and make new choices if they notice a difference in what they feel in their emotion. So they will just change path. So because the sun and the moon are in a sextile, they are in signs of not the same element, so this will give them a certain perspective, so they're able to have this distance to observe things and make change. And when those people work with others, they're usually able to make compromise, so they listen to others but also to themselves, and this is quite nice because they're able to create a balance. Maybe sometimes they feel like they're stronger as part of a group than alone. The habits you have now will usually help you to reach your goals in life because the moon is the habits and the sun is your goals, and they're usually in tune. So you don't have usually divided feelings. Your feelings are quite in tune with your goals. But on the other hand, because usually things work usually very well for you, you can struggle sometimes to make change because everything can seem a bit too comfortable. But this is more in the trine. In the sextile it's less, but still sometimes can make you have difficulty to make change. So sometimes you just get comfortable with the situation as it is, and you will simply struggle to take action to change that, and you will wait until the point you can't bear it anymore, like the point is really too much, before actually doing something. Sometimes it's people that just settle with whatever way of life they just get, and they don't really listen to what is really suitable for them in the long term. This will not make them unhappy, they are good, but this can limit their choice in life, and they kind of restrict themselves without knowing it. So those people usually have a certain passivity, but this is not as strong as in the trine. The sun square moon. Those people can feel like they have like two sides in their personality working for different purposes and in a different way. They're usually prone to inner emotional conflict. They usually have the capacity to challenge themselves from within. They're able to question themselves, observe themselves, and take on challenge and do the necessary work for changes. It's people that we often go through a lot of changes in their life because they won't be good to stay in a situation that they don't feel comfortable in, so they would just prefer making change. So basically they are very open to initiating changes and they're very comfortable with it. So simply they're more likely to have very big life changes than most people, and they're simply drawn to changing the whole structure of their life is what they are drawn to and feel like doing. But they need to spend more time listening to their feeling and looking inside if they really want to make a change, because sometimes they can make decisions they regret. The more difficult part of this aspect is that usually those people feel like they always have a kind of inner tension. They feel like they always need to overcome something within them and to fight for something within them. And they don't know what it is. It's like constant and all the time. And they feel like no matter how hard they try, they always fall short. So they will never stand still. They will always evolve and grow and do things, but they can seem sometimes restless. The sun is in a square with the moon, the sun the dad and the moon the mom. Your early home life can be difficult. They can have big tension between your parents. But even if there isn't tension between your parents, you always feel like they're very different and they're going into two directions. And it's like they push you into two different directions. And this is the source of you feeling like you have those two sides of your personality going into different paths. There's a lack of harmony in them, but they are very active and dynamic. Meanwhile, the sextile and the trine are very passive and just happy with what they have. You're ready to take action. You're ready to make the change. When you get older, it can be difficult in relationship with the opposite sex, because it's simply the reflection of your inner tension. What you feel inside will be projected outside, and it can be difficult to have harmonious relationship. So it's possible that you attract people who symbolize the part of your personality that you accept the least, and that you feel like those people don't really accept you as you are. But actually, the real problem is your lack of self-acceptance within you, because like maybe you're judging yourself too much, or there's a side of your personality that you don't accept, either the moon, either the sun. Those people always tend to think something is wrong, even when nothing is wrong, so they always feel like there's a problem. Now I'm gonna talk about the sun trine moon. Those people, they usually have an inner emotional balance, so they have less psychological problem at the beginning of their life usually than most people. Their emotion, their desire are very in harmony and get along very well with their purpose and with their goals. So this will support them very well to do all the goals they want in their life. It's people that seem very harmonious because it's like the yin of the moon and the yang of the sun are balanced. So the relationship with the opposite sex is usually very good because people sense this inner balance they have. They sense that those people are good emotionally inside. So naturally they will attract easily the opposite gender. They usually feel like they can go through like any challenges in their life easily without losing their sense of purpose because everything is aligned, so they will feel naturally confident. When they face a problem, they just think about it a while and then they're able to go further without any more thinking and questions. So let's say they easily go through challenges in life. Usually the relationship with their parent was very good and the parent get along well, or usually they feel like their parent are quite similar even if the relationship wasn't that good. So this prepared them very well for the adulthood. When they face a strong inner tension, they can put all their energy into it to solve it because they're not scared that they will have those two sides of the personality, because everything is aligned within them and they know where they want to go. So they basically don't have to worry about inner conflict. Those people need to be careful sometimes that their enthusiasm is not overriding others' emotion, because they usually are very easy, positive, but it may be not the case for others. So they need to understand that. So your habits and unconscious feeling, the moon, will usually work for your goals and your life purpose, your sun. Those people have an easy approach of life, so they don't like to struggle for anything. They prefer when things are easy and they won't make them struggle. They have a natural ability to just flow with the events without much resistance. It's like everything just go with the flow, everything is easy. It's the trine. Because every aspect has a positive and a negative side, and even the trine, those people, because everything is easy for them, they feel like everything should be easy. So sometimes they're just very passive, and when they come across a struggle, they don't understand. They're like, it should be easy. So this trend will create a certain level of flow in their life, but they need to be careful to not take things for granted. They tend to avoid challenges and take the easy road every time sometimes. But sometimes the most satisfying things is behind the challenges. It's people that usually understand very well others because they understand themselves very well. Since the sun is in a trine with the moon, they understand usually very well their emotion. They usually like to stay in their habits and they don't like changes. Those people can have a kind of natural talent that will bring them public accomplishment, because the moon is the public and the sun is the, let's say, what makes you famous. And it can also be a kind of nurturance and care they bring into relationship to others. Those people, they can be a stabilizing presence for other people they are in relationship with, but only if they listen and have empathy for others, of course. So because they're very stable within them, they're able to bring this stability to others in their relationship. Sun opposition moon. It's people that will usually learn to know themselves through others, but through opposition to others. So it can be not necessarily a fight, but a kind of competition with others. And usually they will learn to understand themselves with the perspective they get from others. Because the moon is at the opposite of the sun. Those people, they always search perspective. They usually like to go outside of their own point of view. So they will usually ask others what they think of themselves, what they think of their action, to get this perspective and this different point of view. It doesn't mean they want to agree with others at all costs, but they want to have this objectivity, this perspective and different point of view to be as realistic as possible. Usually those people, like the square, they usually feel like they have two sides in their personality. They have this duality because the moon and the sun are completely different, opposite. Yeah, because it's an opposition. So they will feel like often they have a contradiction within them. It's people who want to know the reality about the world. Even if it's a different point of view that what they have, they research this objective point of view and this reality. So it's usually people who like to read non-fictional books, like scientific writings. On the other hand, it's usually people who neglect their emotional feelings. So maybe they feel like their emotions are not that important, and they do the same with others. So sometimes they can they think their personality is maybe more important, but it will depend. Sometimes they will be on the side of the sun on their position. Sometimes they will come back on the side of the moon, but sometimes they neglect their emotion. Those people can have a tendency to be bipolar because they can ignore their feeling for too long until a point they accumulate so much that it just explodes. So they need to be careful about this. So their goals and what they want to accomplish in life are usually the opposite of their desire and what they feel. This can be difficult because their desires are not in tune with their goals sometimes. Will sometimes ignore the feeling or ignore their goals. But they need to find a balance in between. Their relationship with their parents have often been conflictual, or even if it wasn't conflictual, they often feel like their parents are very different, are complete opposite. And this later in their life will manifest as difficulty to have a relationship with the opposite sex. They often feel like it's a fight and like the person is too different. But this will teach them the balance they need to learn. It's very important for those people to integrate their inner tension, to not project them into their relationship on others. So they first need to solve their own emotional tension. It's people, when they express their emotion, it can be very strong, very explosive, and very dramatic. And they need to find a way to express this energy of the full moon. And for example, a cause they want to defend or fight for, or something they really like. Because those people are born under a full moon, they can often be indecisive because they can alternate between the side of the moon or the side of the sun. They often feel like they don't know which way to go. So this video is finished. I hope you like it. I hope you learn a lot about your own aspect or the aspect of people you know around you, or simply that you understand more how the moon and the sun interact in astrology. Do you have any of those aspects? How those aspects manifest into your life? Tell me in the comments, and see you for another video.